Going on YouTube, Chlorwell is here, back with another Scarlet Violet video, and today we're going to be recapping the Gdanks Regionals that just finished earlier today. So, we've had some downtime since the previous regional, and now we're over 2 months in, pretty much. So now, at this point, the meta is pretty much established, okay? You're at the halfway point, we know what's good, we know what's proven, we know what's strong. So now, everything from here on out is like, how do you best it? And what kind of tools do you add to your team to kind of counter the meta a little bit, okay? That's what this regional is about. And I was curious to see some of the sets on some of these squads because, again, you might see like a standard 6, but again, what makes all the difference is the adjustments to those 6 that makes it a little bit more unconventional, okay? Now, in terms of the turnout here, I know it doesn't have it over here, but we do have some data from PokeData website. It looks like it was just under 500 people, so that's a pretty decent turnout for EU. Right, so we're going to look at the usage rate because that was the more interesting thing that I saw over the weekend, right? Just the top 12 is unlike something I've seen before, all right? So we'll look at that, and then we'll take a look at the winning teams, the top 8, and then some of the niche Pokemon that people brought, and some interesting sets that I think could rise as we go into the later part of the format, you know, with these last 2 months, okay? So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at the usage rate. Okay, so this is day 1 usage from the regional. So again, no surprises from the top 3. You knew Sneasler was going to be number 1, okay? That thing has been hovering, you know, just above the 50 percentile the last few regionals, and it's no difference here. A small dippage there with 46%, but again, that's arbitrary because this did surpass 50 in day 2, which we'll get into in a second. And then Breloom and Gdango, second and third, virtual tie there, 33%. And then King Gambit now at 30%, so now it's starting to approach that you know, that top 3 spot there. Incineroar still floating around that magic 25 percentile that it's been at, you know, the last few regionals. So it's been pretty consistent in that slot there. And then you have the 3 dragons here with Dragonite, Archaludon, and then Garchomp just barely making the graphic here at 16%. Amoongus is still good, you know, at 19% here. But what's really interesting here is the 2 newcomers here. You've got Annihilate, okay, no Mousehold, just Annihilate, and then the Volcarona at 17.7%. Now, Volcarona has been a little bit on the rise, especially on these Sneasler balance teams. It's that Tera Fairy set that can be a little bit of support and also at the same time a little bit offensive because of the Quiver Dance idea. But Tera Fairy with the Covert Cloak is pretty good. Again, you know, just the Covert Cloak, you don't have to deal with the Sneasler shenanigans, so that's pretty good there. And then Tera Fairy with Rage Powder, just like with the Amoongus here, you don't have to deal with, you know, Draco Meteor or the Scale Shot shenanigans, right? You keep the Dragonite or the Baxcalibur at bay, and that's really important, right? And then, of course, Pelipper here with your Lone Weather control here at 16%, you know, again, matching the Archaludon over here. So overall, this day 1, a little bit interesting, okay, because of the Volcarona and the Annihilate set here. But overall, you know, the others are pretty standard, okay? Dragapult not in this graphic, but you do have some usage here with Ninetales that didn't make the graphic here. But that's okay. It's still like within top 15 here. But what does get interesting is the Blood Moon usage. And I was very curious to see where Blood Moon would lie in this regional because that thing was picking up lately. And lo and behold, if we go into day 2 here, there it is, 26%. Now, if you told me Blood Moon would rise even more, yes, I would believe you. I didn't think it would crack the top 12. I did not expect that. But it does make sense. Again, 26%, very strong uses. And there's Sneasler here at 53% here. So again, still eclipsing above that 50% mark. Sneasler is still here to stay. You know, again, that is your meta right now. You have to deal with this Pokemon. And then you have Breloom and Gdango there. Again, second and third. And then Gambit here at 29%. But what's interesting here is another newcomer, the return of Dondozo / Tatsugiri. So you may have noticed something here. The Dondozo percentage is much higher than the Tatsugiri percentage. And that's because there's a lot more teams that are just using the single Dondozo as opposed to Dondozo and Tatsugiri. So remember this solo Dondozo set, it's pretty much, you know, the Yawn set with Fissure Liquidation, right? And then now all of a sudden though, the Tatsugiri variants with Dondozo are rising again. And we kind of said that in our previous videos, right? We knew that this would happen because a lot of people are dropping their Dondozo checks, okay? Look at where Primarina is on this graphic. Oh, that's right, it's not. Yeah, that's because Primarina has fallen quite a bit. You know, and that was like your main #1 Dondozo check, the haze stuff, okay? But the Primarina has fallen out of favor. Okay, they're replacing it with this guy, this Dondozo, and because of that, the only thing you have left is the Clear Smog Amoongus, more or less. Okay, and that's okay because now these Dondozos, they've been going Terra Steel, so this way the poison move doesn't affect them. So now you don't have your Haze user, you don't have your Clear Smog user. It's time for me to come back into the meta, and that's what happened, okay? So, you know, it's always like this cycle, up and down, up and down. You know, you bring your checks, Dondozo goes down. You don't bring your checks, Dondozo comes back up. It's expected, and I was waiting for it to come back, and now it did. So now people are starting to try and bring their stuff to maybe even check the Dondozo again. And one thing that can really give it problems is this Dragonite here. And the set for Dragonite, okay, if I just quickly make the team, not the team, but the Dragonite set just real quick. It's that Haze set, because now these Dragonites, they're starting to go for these Haze ideas. So look, you have the Scale Shot, of course, with the extreme speed, and now people are running Haze. Okay, and then this is just Protect over here, right? And you might even have another move here, but this is the three main moves here that Dragonites are starting to run. And that's going to give Dondozo a little bit more problems later on. And this might pick up in uses. So now that we've seen this, now that Primarina is a little bit out of it, and Amoongus is still good. Amoongus is still like within the top 20. But you're going to see probably a little bit more haste from this guy. Of course, you still have some other stuff like, you know, Murkrow teams with the Dondozo. They're also around there, you know, with the Haze themselves, Prankster Haze. So that's still, but there's not a lot of Murkrow teams yet. Okay, I do expect to see a little bit more, but for now, this is like your main check to these Dondozo Tatsugiri teams. And we'll talk a little bit more about that when we spotlight the Dozo teams. But yeah, the Blood Moon stuff, it's all about that Assault Vest. Okay, so like, you know, with Blood Moon, you know, we kind of seen this over the last couple weeks or so. Yes, we have the Life Orb set. That's already been proven. That's already like strong. But these Tailwind teams with Ursaluna are very good. So like either it's Talonflame or either it's Whimsicott. Like this should have never dipped, okay? I still think like Tailwind Ursaluna with max speed, if anything, is like very, very strong, okay? And then now you even add something like this where you either have the scarf or you have, not the scarf, the silk thing. What's that? The silk scarf, right? Or you have the Assault Vest, right? And I think that's also like really good. Now the Assault Vest with the Vacuum Wave, right? We saw this from Nora, Bub's Pokemon's team, right? A couple of regionals ago. This was like a really, really cool tech move here, you know, where you can just go for a priority Vacuum Wave and, you know, do super effective damage to the Steel types. And it's a special attack move, right? So it's gonna hurt a lot. You can snipe a lot of Pokemon with this. So, you know, this is very, very valuable. And then with the Assault Vest, look at this. You already have really good defense. Now with the Assault Vest, you can take a lot more special attacks. Imagine like Pelipper stuff, you know, Gholdengo, Make It Rains. You can live all of this. And that's important when you have something like this, even like the Typhlosion stuff. So, you know, nice to see Blood Moon re-enter the meta. It was only about time before we got to see that, right? But again, now look at Volcarona's conversion rate. 17% going up to 27% now. Top 6 graphic. Okay, so that's crazy. I never would have guessed that Volk would rise this high at this point. But I knew it would be a really strong top option because it's very popular on these Sneasler balance teams. Like, look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is already like a top Sneasler balance team right here. With the Dragonite here, you have Gambit, Rillaboom. Okay, maybe this guy gets swapped with the water type here in Dondozo, but this is pretty much it, right? You can build a team with these 7 options here. And then after that, of course, you still get Incineer with 26%. Dragonite now is 29%, but look who's not here. There's no Garchomp here, and it's outside the top 12, so that's interesting. This is like your little bit more preferred ground choice. So is the other Ursaluna. The other Ursaluna is still like really, really solid, but overall, this is quite interesting in terms of like who's cracking this top 6. I've never seen Amoongus not be in this graphic, okay? Besides like in the restricted formats, where, you know, with the Miraidon Electric Terrain, that's like the one time or the brief period of time where it wasn't in this top graphic. But now it's not even here, and that's crazy, okay? It is outside the top 12, but still within the top 20, of course, just missing it. Same with the Ninetales here. I think there's still like some good Ninetales teams out there. They just the Ninetales itself just missed a graphic here. But again, like we said, no Primarina here. This is your only quote-unquote water option here at the moment. But there was another interesting one that we did get to see on these Archaludon Rain teams. And it's not Basque Legion, but we'll take a look at that in a second. But yeah, very interesting day 2. Okay, so to note those options here. But now let's take a look at the teams and let's see what exactly happened in this regional. Okay, so normally we would use Ladmouse for something like this, but they don't quite have everything yet, but that's okay. We can still access Poke Data and just take a look at the teams through this variant. Okay, so this is another cool resource. And again, if you don't know where to access this, you can always grab this on the VGC resources website and just grab and, you know, just open the link there. And that's exactly what we did. So they have everything since basically the tournament ended. But how about Federico Camporesi over here? Again, clutching it out with Archaludon Rain, but it's a little bit of a different kind of Archaludon Rain. You've got the Archaludon, you've got the Pelipper and the Baxcalibur. We already know that's your core there. And sometimes you'll even have a Kingambit or a Gdango here. Yes, a Steel type is always very strong on a Rain team. But after that, look at the variants here. Now we're adding pieces that normally would be on like those Sneasler balance teams. We've got Electabuzz and Rillaboom over here. So again, Rillaboom having a lot of importance these days because you really want that terrain advantage over those Indeedee teams. So this way they can't really spam the expanding force per se. And the Electabuzz is just a really good redirector. Again, with Vital Spirit here and with Taunt Pressure is really nice. You can get a little bit of speed control with the Electro Web combined with the Tailwind, so that's nice. And of course, the Taunt idea is always pretty solid. You can deny setup. But this is pretty cool. But look at this. It's not, there's no Assault Vest, right? Because it's on the Archaludon. So no AV for the Gambit or the Rillaboom. That means you have to go with this loaded dice set. And that's fine because again, Bullied Seed is strong with the loaded dice, especially in grassy terrain. You get to break a lot of sash that way. And that's important. And then you still get high horsepower and fake out stuff. By the way, high horsepower has been rising on Rillaboom as of late. And people are opting to remove the U-turn because the ground coverage is important. You know, from like Magmar, Electabuzz, Kingambits, Incineroars. And even against, and then, you know, with Tera Fire, you get to hit a Typhlosion now for like big damage. So high horsepower is a welcome change right now to Rillaboom as opposed to the U-turn. And we did that for our rentals, right? So, but anyway, this is a pretty cool team. And it's just these two options here, the Buzz and the Rillaboom, that make all the difference on what is otherwise a standard 4 in terms of the Rain. So congrats to Federico. Really cool squad there. We got to see the battle with Marco Fierro. And, you know, Federico didn't win the Weather War most times. He had to play in the sun, and he was still able to do it because Basculegion and Kingambit are so good. But Marco's team over here, okay, so this is something that we showcased earlier on the channel. If I just pull up our video real quick, but actually I don't even need to do that. But we did put out a rental for this, by the way. So you can grab it if you want. It's very close, according to Marco, to what he was using. Now, since then, he may have adjusted the team in some, you know, some EV spreads. Who knows? But, you know, as far as like the 6 and the sets, it was pretty much the same. So you can grab it if you want. But this was it. It was the Charizard Sun team. He was using this in the Global Challenge. Again, we know what Jumpluff can do. We know what the Eject Pack Torkoal is for. The Zard with the Choice Specs Dragon Pulse is great into the many dragons that are running around. And then, of course, Porygon with the Ursaluna over here with the Incineroar core. This is already pretty expected here. This is like your Amoongus with the Rage Powder support. And then it gives you speed control with the Tailwind and Manual Sunny Day. So I like this a lot. It was a pretty cool team when we used it. And it's nice to see Marco do really well with it and reach really far and one game away from winning it all. So, you know, congrats to him. Job well done from Mr. Marco. And then after that, you know, what else did we see from the top 8? So, you know, how many teams have Volcarona here? 1, 2, 3, and okay, 3 teams had Volcarona, which is pretty interesting. And then, you know, a lot of Gambits and Rillabooms, right? So let's look at some of these squads. So Paul Hinta over here, all right? So look at this, Sneasler, Dragonite, and again, no coaching though, so that's pretty cool. But again, you do have this Volcarona Tera Fairy set, okay, which again, you get to whiff the dragon moves, especially the Scale Shot, but now you have Terra Blast here, and that makes things a little bit more interesting when you have a Volcarona that can click a Fairy Terra Blast into all these dragons running around. Okay, you do have to worry about, you know, Dire Claw stuff, and of course the Flash Cannon from an Archaludon, but the trade-off I think is worth it, especially if you can get up a Quiver Dance immediately and just outspeed everything, right? And then this is a Scarf Bastion versus something like a Bandit set. So still more or less functions the way it's supposed to function. But the key here is that this is an adaptability set as opposed to a Bandit set. So that makes me raise some questions here. But you know, adaptability is very strong. Okay, so you don't have Tailwind, but you do have the Scarf. And now all of these moves are just hitting super, super hard. And again, there's that high horsepower change as opposed to U-turn. How about the Maushold coming onto this? Okay, Maushold here, no Annihilate, but Friend Guard here. Again, Taunt, Follow Me, Protect, Superfan. We haven't seen this Maushold set in a minute, but it is a good set. Okay, and you usually play this without the Annihilate, and here it is again, just functioning as a good solid redirector for your Volcaronas for that matter. You get to protect it here. There's that Scale Shot Dragonite here with the Haze set. So we talked about this, right? And the only thing now is you're just varying your sets here on, not your sets, your Terra options on your Dragonite. So sometimes you'll see Tera Fairy here. Sometimes you'll even see Tera Steel, right? You know, just to resist the Fairy moves or even the Dragon moves altogether. But all in all, this is where you're going to see the difference in some of those Dragonites here. But this is a Grassy Seed Sneasler, by the way. No Sash. Okay, instead we're getting the defense boost and we're going for the Unburden idea so we can outspeed everything. So it makes a lot of sense. You know, you don't have Tailwind here, so you might as well try and get a speed advantage another way. And you do have it inherently with the Quiver Dance. You do have it with the Choice Scarf. Okay, Scale Shot can do that. And then now you have Unburden. So in actuality, you have a lot of speed control. It's just a little bit more manual control in that sense. All right, so great job from Paul here. How about this team here? Okay, from Mr. Chikuo, right? Look at this. So another, again, did I click? Yeah, it looks like it's pretty much the same, except there is a Gholdengo instead as far as a Basket Legion here. So that's another interesting change. But after that, it's pretty much the same idea. Here's the Tera Fairy Volcarona. Here's Tera Steel Scale Shot, Extreme Speed, Haze, Protect. We'll talk about this Dragonite set a little bit more in like another video, but this is the premier set now for Dragonite. You need this Haze user. You're dropping your Primarina, so you still need a way around Dondozo stuff and to keep it at bay, and also haze away like, you know, Swords Dance ideas. But overall, again, Gholdengo here also makes sense because again, nasty plot with the support from the Maushold here. You have a Quiver Dance user over here, so you know, couple setup ideas. You still have Fake Out pressure here from the Rillaboom, so still makes sense from that regard. Michael, right? McKelder best, right? He's still just using this standard Dragapult Sneasler idea. You know, just a very standard Sneasler balanced team. You know, nothing too crazy here. Michael still believes in Primarina here with the Citrus Berry Terra Water set. A little bit more damage. This is something we don't really see. Okay, it's either something like Grass or Terra Poison or even Steel. But Michael's saying, you know what? I need a little bit more damage. I'm going to go with the Water Terra, and I'm going to do a little bit more damage with my Hyper Voice. So that's cool. How about the Terra Ghost King Gambit here? Okay, usually you'll see like something like Terra Dark, if anything, but how about the Ghost Terra here, just to with the fighting type attack, the close combats from another Sneasler, okay? And then there's high horsepower Rillaboom yet again, and Pult still doing the job here, even though it's out of the top 12 per se. All right, Victor Medina over here again, another standard Sneasler balance idea. This one actually has coaching. Okay, there's the Buzz, there's the Rillaboom, there's the Gambit. We know what these three can do. There's that Tera Fairy Volcarona over there. So lots of Sneasler teams, even though it didn't win, plenty of Sneasler teams, okay? So just make note of that. How about this one from Bartos? Look at this. So here we have an Alolan-Ninetales team. Then we have the AV Blood Moon, okay, with the Vacuum Wave tech that we showed. All right, Terra Water, by the way. All right, so he's still weak to Rillaboom, but Terra Water here. So you can at least resist the Gholdengo stuff. So I guess that's cool. And then also the Basket Legion stuff. And then how about this? Look at this. You got Klefki and Sinister over here with the Maushold stuff. All right, so is there screen? There is no screens here. So it's just follow me. It's beat up stuff. Here's the Annihilate with Terra Fire and Leftovers. And then here's the screens coming from the Klefki. Ah, that's why there's no screens here, because it's coming from the Klefki. All right, and then the Sinister here with the Trickum idea, the healing ideas, you know, with these hospitality stuff. I love Sinister with Mouse Ape stuff. It's one of my favorite combos to really use and take advantage. Then over here, just barely sneaking into the top 8. Okay, oh, we don't have anything here. Oh, wait, is that just a misclick here? Oh, wow. Okay, so we don't know anything about this set. Wait, let me try again. Yeah, no, nothing. Okay, so anyway, it is, so it looks like Sneasler stuff. That's probably Adaptability, Basket Legion, and there's the Alolan-Ninetales, Gambit, Rillaboom, Magmar. We already know what these guys can do. So overall, again, you did have Archaludon Rain winning, and you got that cool Sun team, and then after that, it was just basically Sneasler balance stuff, right? Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the next 6 teams had a Sneasler on it. This was your only Mouse 8 team over here. So very interesting in that sense. Okay, now we're gonna cover some other stuff that we saw from the regionals, so this way we can get a whole picture and a whole perspective as far as like what else was going on this past weekend. Okay, I wanted to start here. I want to talk about the Dondozo Core 4. So what people are doing now is they're adding the Sneasler and DD stuff into the Dondozo Tatsugiri core. And we talked about this, right? If you go back to the channel a couple of videos ago, we did a whole team building video on this, okay? Because I knew this would be a case here in this regional, and it was, right? So you have Dondozo Tatsugiri here coming back. Wave Crash, Heavy Slam, Earthquake, Protect. Again, the Terra Steel option is really good against the Clear Smog Amoongus stuff. And then, of course, Leftovers idea right here. And then it's the Indeedee here with either something like Trick Room, Helping Hand, or Imprison Trick Room if you don't have the Helping Hand already. And this is usually the Sashmon here. And then the Sneasler is, of course, the Psychic Seeds on Burden idea with the Terra Dark Throat Chop there. Of course, you still have Dire Claw, and you still have Close Combat at the end of the day, and you still have Protect over here. So this is the core 4, and then these last 2 slots depend on you and how you want to play the team. But overall, this is what we're dealing with now, and this is why you're going to need Haze Dragonite, okay? So now if we go into the regional here, so these 2 Dondozo teams, these are solo Dozos, and we get our first Dondozo Tatsugiri team here from Frederick Nielsen, one of the Nielsen brothers, right? So let's take a look here. And there it is, Dondozo Tatsugiri, and there is the male Indeedee and Sneasler. But couple things here. First of all, Mr. Nielsen says, I don't need Terra Steel. I just go with Terra Grass, and I'm going to live with it, okay? He's got Wavecraft, Earthquake, Protect, Order Up. So he's going with the Order Up idea, all right? The classic Dondozo set, but not going with the Steel Terra. He's going with the Grass instead. It's the Scarf Tatsugiri here, so this is the old school set. But look at this, the Talonflame Blood Moon comes on this, so very, very hyper offensive. You could just simply lead Talonflame Ursaluna, do a ton of damage in the early get-go, and then let Dondozo Tatsugiri clean up, right? That's one way to do this. You can even do Talonflame Indeedee, click Tailwind, click Expanding Force, right? You could even do that. If you want to consider that. And then you could even do like Sneasler leads, right, with the Indeedee. We already know that. That's very classic. But you could get a lot of offense and just let Dondozo and Tatsugiri clean up in the back. So this is pretty cool. I like this a lot. So good job from one of the Nielsens, right? Then as we go down a little bit, okay, look at this. No, that's still, yeah, actually we'll... No, that's not the Psyspam Dondozo. That's just another standard Dondozo Tatsugiri team, which I guess we can preview at the end. How about this one from Roberto Relatico, right? So this is someone that we got some inspiration from our rental, right, when we put out. It has Dondozo Tatsugiri with the Archaludon and the Pelipper Rain mode, right? So a little bit different from Nielsen, but he still has these 4 options here. There's the Terra Steel idea, and it is Dragon Pulse, along with the Pelipper Rocky Helmet over here, as opposed to something like Covert Cloak here. But still, I would imagine this might be a bulkier set. Who knows? But this is the Sash set over here, right? So this is pretty cool. I like this. Makes a lot of sense. Then as we keep going, we can find a couple more here. Here's another one, right? This is the other Nielsen brother. Okay, we can't really see the team because Pokedata is bugging out, but I'm pretty sure it's the same squad as the brother over there. But as we go down, how about this one? This actually also looks like it's the same team, right? And yeah, I'm not surprised. Look, Talonflame, Blood Moon Ursaluna. So this might be the latest rendition of it, as opposed to what we put out. But again, it's still like very solid in essence. Is there another one with the Psyspam brand? So we just previewed a couple already. But all right, here's another one. Okay, Dondozo Tatsugiri, Indeedee Sneasler. How about Gholdengo and Glimmora? I feel like you want Tailwind with these two, right? Normally you will have a Tailwind user, but it's not here. But again, okay, sure. I guess it still works. Maybe you can play it slower. I'm not really sure. Usually you want like Tailwind with Glimmora and Gholdengo here. But again, another way to play it. So I won't question it because it does have results here. And then as we scroll down, can we get a little bit more? Yeah, look at this one from Alessandro. Right, it's the same thing, right? It's just a different Tatsugiri. But look at this. Again, the rain mode here with Pelipper and the Archaludon, Rocky Helmet Pelipper coming in here. Here's the Helping Hand trick. Oh, Helping Hand and Imprison. Ooh, okay. So I see what we're doing now. But again, you can kind of see how common this way of playing Dondozo is now. Here's another one, right? Dondozo, Tatsugiri, Indeedee Sneasler, and how about these two? Dragapult and Annihilate. Double Ghost here. So Choice Band Pult, very strong here. Final Gambit Annihilate. We've seen this before with Dondozo teams, right? You can just protect, you can Final Gambit, KO something, go into your Tatsugiri, and start going ham here, right? So we've seen that before. We've also seen Coaching Annihilate, right? Coaching into the Dondozo or into the Dragon Ball or even into the Sneasler. So lots of flexibility that you can do with this Annihilate team. All right, makes a lot of sense. But, you know, they did drop there, but so that's interesting. Maybe they had something come up, but 6-2 still pretty good, you know, all things considered. But hopefully now this gives you an idea of what's to come moving forward. But again, this is why the Haze Dragonite set, I think, could rise a little bit more in popularity. So we'll have to wait and see. But as far as like what you need to prepare for, this is one of those teams. Okay, I wanted to talk about Baxcalibur now. So we got to see this do very well in the Lille Regionals. It's this coaching idea from Sneasler, and then you have the Scale Shot and the Icicle Spear coming from the Baxcalibur. So again, we already know what Scale Shot can do from Dragonite. Scale Shot Baxcalibur, very strong. And then now you add Icicle Spear too. Like this does a ton of damage, you know, just everywhere into like Breloom's, Amoongus's, Sneaslers. It just does very well. And all the dragons, okay? And then after this, you got Volcarona, Rillaboom, Gambit here, right? So, of course, Sneasler, Rillaboom, Gambit. We already know these three are always coming onto those Sneasler teams. Then you add this Tera Fairy Volcarona idea, right? So, look at this. Quiver Dance, Heat Wave, Terra Blast, Rage Powder. So, it looks like, again, you want to be offensive, but then you're also defensive, you know, because you have Rage Powder support here, right? So, you can help set up the Gambit here with the Swords Dance idea. Tera Fairy, again, you know, Outrage immunity, Draco Meter immunity, Scale Shot immunity, redirect everything with the Rage Powder. This is like playing your Amoongus role, but not being a grass type because you have the Rillaboom already. And then you can set yourself up with Quiver Dance here because, again, you know, you do have Fake Out Pressure here coming out. And then you also have Yawn for Dondozo to help you create some space to help set up the Quiver Dance and King Gambit. I actually want to do a video one day, like how to create space in VGC. How do you get yourself to set up and find the room to do it? You know, we call that creating space. Maybe I'll do a video on that in the coming days or whatnot. Something I've always wanted to do because I think it's important to understand how to quote unquote create space for your offense, right? But anyway, so there's that. But now, would this be the case here in Gdanks, right? So we already know this team, what it did in Lille. Did we see that here? Yes, we did. So here at 10th place here from William, this is pretty much what we saw, okay? And that's pretty much expected. Then we go down here to 26, same thing, right? From Mr. Forehad, right? So same kind of Baxcalibur Sneasler stuff, but there was a little bit of a difference in this one over here. Okay, I want to find it real quick, but this one right here from Marcus. So look at this. Oh, we can't even preview it, but because you know Pokédata is being lame. But let me just zoom in on this, okay? Because it's important to know, like we've got Bax Sneasler there, and you still have Rillaboom and Gambit, but over here, okay, now you have Magmar instead of Volcarona, and then you still have Primarina. Primarina is still good, so I wouldn't be surprised if this was like the Citrus Berry set, and then this Magmar like had Overheat, Follow Me stuff with Willis, and then just Protect there. So like this is another way to consider that, right? So you know, just if you want some variance, I guess that makes sense. Because again, now you still get your Haze back, and then you still get a good bulky redirector in the Magmar. So maybe a little bit of variance there. Maybe that matters. But again, 7-3 is like still pretty strong. But overall, like maybe we'll see this kind of idea rise a little bit more as opposed to Volcarona. But Volcarona is so good, so I can't really imagine, you know, not being on that team. But again, it still makes for strong player. Like even this one from Robin, it's the same thing. You know, same idea from Lille, where you're just coming in and doing what you need to do with Baxcalibur. Very, very strong team. So now as we head into the next regional, would this still be the case? I think so. All right, so yeah, be prepared. I also want to spotlight this particular Ninetales team. So we got to see this a little bit from Lille Regionals, right? We got to see Pardini run this, and Gian Maria also ran the same team. And we got to see more of it here in Gdanks, right? So what is the team? So basically, it's this Ninetales team with Blizzard, Auroraville, right, and Encore, but Icicle Spear as the tech choice here. Very interesting, okay? And then we have Dragonite, Magmar, Goldango. These three are a pretty good core together. And the Dragonite is a Scale Shot, Extreme Speed, Ice Spinner set, right? Because again, you want to blow up terrain, remove the Rillabooms and the the Indeedis, click, you know, with their terrain advantage, remove that. Okay, then the Magmar comes in with Clear Smog. We like Clear Smog Magmar. And then Overheat, Follow Me stuff. And then Gholdengo is this Terra Dragon Metal Coat Nasty Plot set. So you get to couple this with the Magmar. So that's cool. And then the Annihilate also does well with the Magmar here, where you can just set up your bulk ups. And then Blood Moon Ursaluna comes in with the Assault Vest. Behind screens can do like a ton of big damage here. You know, with Blood Moon, Hyper Voice, Earth Power, of course. And then, of course, the Vacuum Wave Tech, right, to snipe down things that are just remaining with a sliver of health, right? So this is a pretty cool 6, right? And it's very different than the other art types that you'll normally run into, but it does work. Okay, so if you go into Gdanks, we got to see that quite a few placements actually. So right over here, just outside the top 8 from City over here, again, another Italian player it was running that team. So look at this: Blizzard, Aurora Veil, Encore, Icicle Spear, okay, Terra Water Annihilate, Assault Vest Blood Moon, Terra Dragon Gholdengo. Here's the Dragonite here with Skill Shot, Extreme Speed Ice Spinner, Terra Steel. It's more or less the same team, right? So that's cool. We got to see, that's one spot there at 9th place. And I think we got to see a few actually as we go down here. Here it is again from Andrea. Same thing, right? And again, it's a really good solid 6. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, when I was trying it out, I was like, you know what, this is actually a pretty fun team. I'm not gonna, you know, Gholdengo behind screens is always like very, very strong. So again, this one's also like pretty good. Again, here's John Moreno, right? So he was one of the ones that was using it with Francesco. But as we scroll down, again, that's already like 3 placements. So, you know, really solid 6. Here it is again from David Carrer. And is this the same idea? Yeah, it is. So everybody wants to run the same thing. Everybody's doing all kinds of prep and practice with each other. Same flag, no coincidence, I would imagine. All right, now we'll go into the 6-4s there. So, you know, it did well again. So that's 2 regionals in a row where this team, this Ninetales team, has done very, very well. And for good reason. Like, there's lots of play with setup, okay? You have weather control, which is very good for you. And your Dragonite with Ice Spinner gives you terrain control too. So it removes terrain for you, okay? Then you also have the Skill Shot there. So overall, like, this is a really cool team. So I do expect a little bit more out of this Ninetales team moving forward. I'm always going to find a way to spotlight Kommo-O over here because, you know, every regional so far, it always just finds a way to still get like a decent solid result, or results for that matter. Because again, it's a good Pokemon, you know, with the dragon fighting typing here. You're weak to fairy, but there's not a lot of fairies running around. Primarina is down in usage. First of all, that was like your main fairy already. Okay, so now you're just left with what, Clefable? So all the more reason Kommo-O looks really good here. Yes, there is flying type damage running around with stuff like Hurricane Pelipper, but you can get around that, especially if you're going with like Terra Steel ideas. But here's the Terra Fire set with Flamethrower, Clangorous Soul Clanging Scale set. So would we see more Kommo-O teams in Gdanks than we did? So how about this team over here with Simone Sanvito, right? Mr. Sanvito over here. So look at this double dragon idea with Dragonite over here. Okay, you've got Grimmsnarl screen support, which I think is important when you want to try and set up Kommo-O here. Then you've got setup from Gholdengo and Volcarona. And here is a Blood Moon Ursaluna here with the Assault Vest, right? So I originally thought that this would be like the redirector Volcarona, because this looks like a little tough to try and set up sometimes, you know, with Nasty Plot and Clangorous Soul. But with the screens, I guess it's a little bit easier, right? So you don't have redirection, but at least you have the screen support. So that helps a lot. Okay, then as we scroll down, it's funny enough that how all 3 of them were kind of clumped together. So I'm going to go down to the other 3 Kommo-O teams that also had like good solid 7-3 results. Right over here, Mr. David, Mr. Barbera, all right, and we even have Sergio over here. So look at this. So this one is the Sand variant, right? So it's Overcoat Kommo-O with Instant Amoongus, and here's Tyranitar. That's pretty cool. And this is the Iron Defense Body Press stuff. So that's the other way of playing Kommo-O. Again, Body Press does so much damage into a lot of different things, okay? And if you're scared of the ghost types, you've got 2 dark types on your team, and you even have the Porygon here that can do something. So Terra Ground Porygon is also like really strong. I like this. Volcarona comes yet again, another Quiver Dance Volcarona. And I think Quiver Dance Volcarona makes sense, you know, with something like this when partnered with Kommo-O. So that's really cool. So I like this from David. Then over here from Joan, it's the Sneasler fake out stuff with Breloom too. So you have double fake out to try and set up the Clangorous Soul Clanging Scale stuff. And it's Aurorus Field, by the way. So the fighting damage you already have. Okay, that's good into Gambit. That's good into Archaludon if you can set it up. So it makes a lot of sense here. And then you have Electabuzz here. So look at this. You still have the Sneasler core, right? With Gambit, Buzz / Magmar. Then you have Breloom here. Pick your Dragon type, which is Kommo-O. And then this one is the odd one out. You have an extra Gholdengo here. So interesting enough. But yeah, again, it just makes... It's still like a very solid idea. Like you can still do Kommo-O, Sneasler, balance up. We did that too. We had the Ninetales over here, for screen support. So this is still like pretty cool in essence. Then we'll go to the last one down here from Sergio. And this one is the odd one, right? You still have Rillaboom and Electabuzz here. No Gambit. But instead, you have Basculegion adaptability with the Scarf idea. So again, this is another one where we're seeing Scarf Basculegions. Because there's no rain, right? So you still need a way to outspeed. You still have Incineroar here. You still have the Fake Out Brothers. Okay, so 1, 2, and then you have Redirector here. This is basically, set up the king, right? Which is Kommo over here. And then Blood Moon just comes in and clicks, Hyper Voice or Blood Moon. Nice to see, again, like more Blood Moon teams come out here. You can kind of see how the 26% came about here. But again, another one of those teams were like, okay, this looks interesting. How do I beat this, right? So good idea from the Kommo here, again, with Terra Steel. So again, nice to see it do well. That's already 4 placements for it over here, within the top 64. So it's not like amazing by any means, but it's still noteworthy if you do want to play another one of the big dragons that's outside of the big 3 right now, or technically big 4. About Classic Rain Archaludon here. So, this is one of the first teams that was made with Pelipper and Archaludon back in September, and it's still good even right now, 2 months later. So I would say this is the most consistent team in Regulation H because of the performances that it keeps getting, regional after regional, tournament after tournament, and we saw it again here in Gdanks, right? So if we just go down here to Mr. Max Waterman, and I think this is the same team that he brought into Lille. Look at this. You got your core 4. With the Rain Setter, the Rain Abuser, the Redirector, and Amoongus, and the Steel type here with Gholdengo, Basculegion, the Rain Cleaner, whether it be early game or late game, and then Incineroar for your defensive backbone with Amoongus, right? This is always still like a very good team even right now, so it's solid, it's consistent. So, if I had to like recommend the team to someone like trying to pick up Regulation H, it would be this team. And then after that, what about like the screens idea? Remember, Grimmsnarl screens, or with Mouse Hold and Eye, like that still works even right now. So like Rain with screens is still like very, very solid and can still work right now, whether it be like Grimmsnarl or the Klefki idea. So if I can find a few of those, I think I can. I will. I just want to show it right here. This is why like I love that lap mouse here, because it just simply narrows it down for me, right? But all right, let's just manually find it. All right, so this one. Okay, so this one has a this one has a Breloom. I want to talk about this a little bit later when we talk about like niche teams and whatnot, because of interesting choices here. Okay, right here. I literally just saw it. The screens idea. Where are you? Did I pass it? I know I saw it. Okay. Oh, here we go. Right here. Adam Walker. Right, there we go. It's so hard to find out this website without my filter. But anyway, so look at this. You have Grimmsnarl, you have the Mouse Ult here with the Ape, right? So this still works right now. Sometimes you might see Sinistcha on teams like this, but this is still okay. Look at this, Misty Terrain Grimmsnarl, right? So again, this is something that's really useful against the Indeedees and the Rillabooms. You get to override the terrain, and you get to not have to deal with Sneasler shenanigans, right? Or even Amoongus stuff. And then Scary Face for extra speed control, right? Along with your Tailwind is quite good. And then this could even work in Trick Room, right? You can Scary Face yourself and make yourself slower in Trick Room, and then the Archaludon can potentially sweep. Same with the Basculegion if you don't even bring the Rain mode. So nice tech there. Then you have Parting Shot just like Incineroar. And then, of course, the occasional Spirit Break into the Dragons and other special attackers. Of course, you're going to get beat up with Mouse Hold into the Annihilate or the Archaludon to get the, the Rage Fist going, get your body presses going because of all the defense moves. So this idea still works right now, and it's good. It's very solid. It's very consistent. So the classic Rain cores are still strong even now, 2 months later into the format. So if you don't want to use this, right? This is Federico adapted the Lille version from Mr. Cool, Fabian Cool, right? He just changed the sets. If you don't want to run this, then you can still run the classic Rain stuff, and it's still like strong. Okay, I also wanted to spotlight Paldean-Tauros here because we got to see this also in Gdanks as another abuser besides Baxcalibur that could come onto these Archaludon and Pelipper teams, right? We just spoke about them in some of the cores, but now how about this as a niche option here with the Tauros? So you get to have the Intimidate just like in Incineroar, but now at the same time, you can also put pressure just like the Baxcalibur, you know, with these wave crashes and these close combats. Now, of course, there's no last respects, but, you know, you still get a couple of tools that, you know, the Baxcalibur does not get, right? Like fighting coverage and the priority move, and along with the Intimidate support. So that alone merits use onto the Archaludon and Pelipper archetype. And we saw that here from Tehran Birdie. All right, so look at this. Arc, Pelipper, and then the Tauros here with the Mirror Herb, right? So that's pretty good. You know, even if you lead this into King Gambit, you get to copy the attack boost. So that's nice. And then you have Scarf Gholdengo here as your Steel type in the Rain. Then you have Sinistcha here for your Trick Room ideas and your healing capabilities. And then how about Dragonite coming in here? Scale Shot along with Haze, you know, for your Dondozo stuff for that matter. I think this is a pretty cool team. At least another type of variation of playing this. But maybe we might start and see some Tauros on these Archaludon Rain teams as like a little bit of a niche tech water abuser besides the Baxcalibur. You know, time will tell, but I think it was pretty interesting to see, and it's worth exploring for sure. How about the Porygon balance idea, you know, with Instant Amoongus and the Ursaluna? So this is a key 4 along with a +2 that has done well even leading into this regional, but it didn't do that much here. We got to see one sighting. I mean, yes, you had 3 of those pieces in Marco's team, of course, you know, with the Zard, the Torkoal and the Instant, but not much other than that. There was a sighting of it though. It was right here. It had a pretty good result. Where is it? Yeah, right here from Mateo. So look at this Instant Amoongus, you know, the P2, the Ursaluna. The P2 is of course Terra type with the Terra fighting. Here's the Flamigo idea. This is something that we've seen already for like the past month or so. So it can still work right now, you know, 9-3, that's still like okay. But like as far as like other Porygon 2 teams, not much. Like you still have Instant Amoongus P2 here, but this is like completely different. This is Sneasler, Gholdengo, and then Dondozo here. This is Matty Morgan's team. Again, the solo Dozo idea. So it's Terra Ground P2, right? Terra Blast, Terra Ground. So that's another good Terra that we've used on the channel before, you know, in terms of the Porygon. And I think there was like one other one with the P2, but not too much here. Like here's Andrea over here with the same thing that Marco was using. But how about this one here? Again, we really previewed this one, right? Instant Amoongus Porygon. This is the sand idea with the Kommo-O. So not a whole lot of Porygon, believe it or not. So that was interesting in terms of meta development here. Whereas the P2 squads were like really strong here. In like the on our side, but like over here, there wasn't really a whole lot of P2 stuff. Now, not to say that P2 is not good, but it just didn't do well here. Like here's another one, 5-3. Like again with the Vivian, the Ursaluna stuff, pick a dragon type. Usually something like Dragon Pulse makes sense here, but we have a Kommo on this part. So it's interesting. Now, does that mean that'll change later? It could be, but I still think this 4 is very, very solid. It just didn't have the results here. Staying within the Trick Room team archetype here, how about like the hard Trick Room stuff, you know, with Indeedee, Hatterene, Torkoal, Ursaluna? How about these 4? Like, did these 4 have any kind of play this past weekend? There was 2 sightings there, but again, very linear in how you want to play these. Usually this is like Gallade and the grass type, the Hisuian Lilligant, but not much here. We do have a sighting over here at 45th place from Christian. Again, Indeedee, Hatterene, Torkoal, Ursaluna. There's the Gallade. Here's the Mousehold instead. You know, just a big time nuker here with the Population Bomb. So you get some idea here. You know, this is Specs Torkoal. This is Gallade with the Clear Amulet. So not bad there. And there was another one, 6-4 down here. Again, there were far and few this time around. Again, very linear gameplay, but it can work. Again, it's still very strong. You still have to like, you know, play well against it. But, you know, if you know your lines, this is not a hard team to play against. If you know what you're doing and if you know how to stall out Trick Room turns. But again, you still had 2 sightings, you know, 6-4 and 7-3, still like okay. It still works for some people, but as far as like the hard Trick Room idea, I still think, you know, they need more. I still like Trick Room balance much more. You have better options and more flexibility rather than the hard Trick Room cores. Okay, let's look at some teams that are a little bit unusual than some of the normal stuff that you might find. Starting right here at 46th place, 7-3. Okay, I think we all know about this one. The day 2 PRINPLUP team. This is crazy, okay? And first of all, you have these three, the Indeedee, the Sneasler, and the Delphox, the Psyspam trio, more or less. Then you add something like this with the Ninetales for weather control, okay? Blizzard, Freeze Dry, Icy Wind Moment. So now you get Blizzard and Expanding Force Spam, or Blizzard and, you know, Heat Wave ideas, okay? But look at this PRINPLUP here with the Eviolite. You have some bulk here, okay? And then you have Terra Blast, Helping Hand, Haze, and Water Pledge, okay? Water Pledge. That is a set, okay? I guess we need a water move here, but there's no other pledge user here. At least I don't think so. There's no fire pledge here. So this was a set, okay? I don't know what the thinking was here from Roman Alonso, but I would love to understand the idea. But I guess it's a bulky competitive user. You know, Tera Fairy over here with Tera Blast, Tera Fairy. So I guess that's pretty good into the dark types, I would imagine. But, you know, I just wonder, like, can we put something else in there? But hey, there must be a reason to why that was on the team. Otherwise, you know, the 7-3 result may not even happen. So that's one thing. How about the Politoed Pelipper team right here? This one. Who was the maker? All right, it was David, right? David Vidorsa. So let's take a look here. So again, standard 4 here with Arc Pelipper and Baxcalibur and Amoongus with the Instant. Instead of the Steel type here, we have the Choice Scarf Politoed here, okay, with Weather Ball, Surf, Haze, Icy Wind. That's actually a fine set, okay, but we have the Politoed and the Pelipper. Usually you pick one weather setter, but we have the Politoed and the Pelipper, okay? Tailwind with the Scarf here. All right, and you still get your Haze user here. So this was interesting, to say the least. I guess you might bring one and not the other, or maybe you bring both. I don't know, but I guess it's just a little interesting. It's just in terms of like, look, you've got Surf here. So well, I guess Surf does a lot of damage next to everything here, I would imagine. So that was also noteworthy to look at here. Now, how about Triple Dragons here from Kevin Salvetto, right? I saw that he posted this on Twitter, so look at this. You've got Talonflame, Gholdengo ideas with Garchomp. That we already know. It's the other options here that make things a little bit of interest. You've got Dragonite, you've got Archaludon, and you've got Garchomp. You've got Triple Dragon on this. Okay, so if you are one of the few that want to make Triple Dragon work, Kevin did the job for you. So look at this. You've got Scale Shot, Extreme Speed, Ice Spinner, Haze Dragonite, no Protect here with Tera Fairy. All right, then you have Specs Gholdengo with the Talonflame Tailwind. All right, we already know how much damage this can do. Then you have coaching from your Sneasler into your Garchomp here and into your Dragonite, of course. Okay, and then the Archaludon, there's no rain here, so that means one thing and one thing only. You're going to have to go with the Power Herb set, and that is what Kevin is doing here. You got Protect, which means you can do Electro Shot, Power Herb stuff, and then Flash Cannon, and then Draco Meteor over here. So you get one electric move, so you're going to have to make it count. But if you do, then it can do very, very well. So this is pretty cool in essence. I don't know if Kevin's going to make this public, but if he does, we're going to definitely try it, okay, on the channel. So shout outs to Kevin, you know, really, really cool squad. I think that was rather interesting. Then there was this team down here. I remember I saw it. It was the Gardevoir Garchomp team over here. No, I think I passed it already. Yeah, this one was also a team here. No, not this one. Where'd it go? Gardevoir. Oh yeah, right here. So look at this one. Who made this actually? Oh, it was Simon. Simon over there. Yes. All right. So look at Simon's team here. You've got Garchomp, and it's the Drifblim Indeedee idea. So look at this. You've got the Tailwind, Psychic Seeds, Drifblim with Unburden, right? And then you have Unburden here too with the White Herb. So that's pretty cool. Acrobatics Drifblim. You know, we've seen this before, right? And it does a lot of damage. All right. Then you also get Haze. Oh, I didn't even know Drifblim got Haze actually. So you got a Haze user here. But of course, we know what Garchomp can do. You've got Earthquake next to either the Drifblim, you can Earthquake next to the Gardevoir, you can Earthquake even next to this, the Corviknight, right? The bulk up Brave Bird Corviknight here with the Roost healing capabilities. So this is pretty cool, right? So I think this is smart. Like if you just look at these four, like Garchomp, Corviknight, Sneasler, and Indeedee, that's like already a pretty cool four. Then you add pieces like Drifblim and Gardevoir to really throw a wrench into your opponent's plans. Like with they don't prep for this stuff, right? They're not prepping for Drifblim and Gardevoir. So that I thought that was like a pretty cool squad in essence. So right away we already seen a few. How about there was a Sand Psyspam team over here. I also saw that a little bit. I think I have to scroll up a little bit because it actually did pretty decent. Sand Psyspam. So T-Tar, and his friends that are looking for this. I think I missed it. I'm gonna have to go down a little bit more, I think, just to try and find it. Ah, yeah, here it is. Yeah, I found it. I had to pause the video just to make sure like I didn't miss it. But look at this. Look at this from name Spiteri, right? No, I have to click over here. So you've got Indeedee, you've got Hatterene, okay, and you've got Amoongus. So you got your Trick-Room core. Then you have this fast mode with Excadrill and Tyranitar. And here is the Sneasler that, again, with the Psychic Seeds, this time with the female Indeedee rather than the male Indeedee. Okay, you get Trick-Room here, but look at this. Throat Chop, Close Combat, Dire Claw, Protect. So still the Terra Dark Sneasler set. No coaching here, okay? So we're relying on these guys. But again, no Earthquake here either. So it's just high horsepower Excadrill with the Sash, the Rock Slide, the Iron Hand. Rock coverage is actually pretty good right now. And then the Amoongus stuff. So you still have like this Psyspam stuff, but then you add the Sand idea, okay? And then you can have Tyranitar against the Torkoal teams or even against the Pelipper stuff. So it makes for an interesting kind of squad. So I like this. This is the kind of variance that maybe some of these hard Trick-Room teams need. You know, you need some additional pieces that make all the difference there. So that's another one that we got to see. This one also has like straight Garchomp with Archaludon. Like after this, you know, like look at these four. Like this is pretty standard. Arc, Pelipper, Amoongus, Instant. Then you have Maushold here, and then you have Garchomp onto this. So double dragon, but a little more unlike the others, right? Instead of for a double dragon core. But again, it still works. But that was still like interesting to see. And then there was like a couple more. Like there was a Weezing sighting, right? Yeah, this is the one. So you had Garchomp here with Galarian Weezing, and then you had the Ability Shield Tauros, right? So you can still use your Intimidate, of course, and then they can't use theirs because you have the Weezing on the field. So I thought this was interesting too. You still have Earthquake over here, but you're not really clicking that all that much unless you're clicking Protect, right? So you have to really manage your Earthquakes here. But other than that, nice to see a Weezing outing or Weezing sighting for that matter. But yeah, so we covered some of... Oh, there was the Breloom team, right? Because I think that one was the only one that I left out that I wanted to get back to. I just have to find it relatively quickly over here as long as I just scroll down here. We found it here from Jamie Chen. So look at this. This was the Dondozo Pelipper idea, right? So Arc Rain with Dondozo Tatsugiri, and then your last two pieces here could be whatever you want, right? It could be the Psyspam duo, it could be something else. But we've got Maushold with Population Bomb, of course. Rain Dance Maushold. Rain Dance Maushold. I just want to point that again. Rain Dance Maushold. And then Breloom here with the Sash, Technician, Bullet Seed, Mach Punch, and Spore. You got Fast Spore now, right? This is not Amoongus. Okay, you got the fighting coverage, you got the Bullet Seed tech. Okay, so this is pretty cool. You don't really see Breloom all that much. Sometimes you see it every now and then, once in a blue moon. But here we get to see it with a pretty decent result here. Top 36, 7-3 result. Really, really cool. Just almost outside top 32. Ah, man, that's unfortunate. But hey, at the end of the day, it's still like really cool to see something like a Breloom do relatively well. Alright folks, so that's it for now. So hopefully you liked our recap for Gdanks, and hopefully we were able to paint the picture of how the results went and where we are right now at the midway point within the regulationH meta, right? So 2 months have already passed. We still got 2 months more. So this was a nice, refreshing regional, because we haven't had one in a couple weeks. So this was a good idea to see if things would develop and see where we are right now at the middle point. So yeah, Sacramento's coming, so is Toronto. So those are your next few, that, at least on our end, that are coming up. So get to prepping, okay? You got some recent results. You're going to get more tournaments online on Limitless, so make sure you start practicing there as well. But anyway, we'll be back with another video in the next one, guys. Peace out and have a good one.